there. I'm going to put it right in this region right here. And what generally kind of helps is I want to create this illusion that there's still some of these glaciers left. So I'm going to use these jagged rocks right here. I'm going to bring the scale down. I'm going to place them right along in here. So I'll place one here. Let's actually, let's see. Let's do, this one might look good here. What I want them to do is kind of be jutting out towards the ocean. And it also can frame this plane a little bit, which I think might look nice. So we'll go ahead and throw, let's put that one there so it kind of overlaps. And then this is a smaller one. Let's have that one right there. So it looks like it kind of overlaps. One there. And then let's add one more right there. And then maybe some smaller ones. It's always good to have a variation. Whenever you're putting some kind of land formations, it could be cliffs, it could be mountains, hills, whatever it might be, you want a nice variety of sizes because that's going to look more natural than all the mountains and all the hills being exactly the same size. So it's helpful to kind of have this variation. So I'm going to have these kind of glaciers right here. And then what I'll do is I want to take some of that snow that I used. I think let's put this one right here, snow. I'm going to bring the opacity down, and I'm going to have it kind of look like it's kind of fading inward into this plane area right here. So just a little bit like this, kind of fading inward like this. I think that'll look good. All right, and then I want to show some grass as well. And so a great one to use is this grass alpha texture. This is perfect. You might have to change the scale a little bit, but you can kind of see it in the preview. And I use this grass texture on almost every single plane that I create because what planes have a lot of are grass. Obviously not every plane, there's various types. There's an underwater plane called an abyssal plane. There's also a fire plane as well. So not all of them, but one of the major type of vegetation you find there is grass. And so what I'll do is I'll take that grass texture and just apply it. And what's great about it is it's an alpha texture, meaning that it's going to pick up whatever texture is underneath of it. It supports transparency. And so that means it won't interrupt whatever textures are underneath of it. And this is a texture that I use, again, for almost every single plane. You're going to find it so useful because one of the big secrets about filling an open space without having to do 15 different textures to blend these all together is to use alpha textures. So alpha textures are your friends. You absolutely want to use them. Hey, both of you, I'm glad everyone is here. All right, so simple one, this glacier one, it's an outwash or a sand dune. I like to put it in more of my frigid areas. I like to also create some kind of glaciers that are still remaining, and then I'll put some of that snow there and then apply that last alpha texture. So pretty easy stuff. I'm going to quickly save and we'll move on to the next one, which is a lava field. I might as well do something different than a more grass-like plane. That way we're kind of making it more interesting in between each plane there. We'll let this save. And when it comes to saving, I generally do about 100 changes. About 100 changes or so, and then I save. Just depends on what you're doing. Hey, how's it going, Draco Wolf? First time chatter. Glad that you are here. Things are doing great. We're doing planes, both natural and fantasy. Because if you I usually like to start out with the natural biomes first because when you go to make the fantasy variant of it, at least you have some very crude knowledge about how the natural biome is formed, and then that can play a role in the lore and the overall creation of the more fantasy version of that biome. So let's go to that next one. It's called a lava field. Now we do have a volcano right here, so it only makes sense that we should probably have a lava field next to that. Now, just so you know, the lava field is a bit different. The lava field is generally like it's formed by this accumulation of like layers of lava, but these lava plains can stretch out for miles, and generally those lava flows are cooled and hardened. So you don't have to show like them having actual lava flowing and stuff like that. So you can add that in a fantasy element, but generally the lava field generally doesn't really have a whole lot, though you can. And maybe I'm mistaken on that. So I am an armchair geographer. So if someone knows more about lava fields, feel free to change that for me because hey, I am not perfect there. So let's do that lava field. And one thing that might be helpful is to first have the area in which we have the mountains and the volcano have actual lava flows, and then we can use that same texture that we use to represent lava. We can desaturate it and make it darker, and then make it look like there's the cooled, hardened variant of it. So what I'll go do, if you go into the catalog and you go into Fantasy Battle Maps, there's a texture called Lava, and there's this lava cracks. This stuff works great. As always, whenever you're using a stamp or a texture from a different style, remember that it's going to have a different scale, so you'll probably have to adjust the texture scale. You notice how big it is? It's a Fantasy Battle Map texture, right? So we'll want to scale it down quite a bit to make it nice and small to kind of fit here. I'd say what about there, looks good. Okay, and then I'm going to apply it on the FG layer. Let's see here. Oop, I don't know where my mouse went. Oop, my mouse is disappearing for some reason. There we go. There we go. All right. Okay, so I'm going to apply that texture. Let's go with 100% so you can kind of see it. And what I'm going to try not to do is not to put it on too many of the mountains except for the actual volcano itself. I don't mind having lava coming from there. And then now that I've added lava there, I can take that same texture and go into these color adjustments. It's that little hamburger menu right there with the little slider bars. I'm just going to desaturate it. That means taking the saturation all the way to 0. And I'm going to bring the brightness down a little bit so it's not super shiny. And then I can go in and then apply that same texture right here to kind of create that lava plane. There we go. Perfect. That looks good. And of course, you can always, it's always nice to take a light source and you can put them on top of that lava cracks to give it that extra sense of glow. I'll just throw that in there so you can kind of see what that looks like. Let me see if this is the right light source. We want to go to the color adjustments here and change. Let's see here. I think this is fine. Let's use this one. And go to advanced settings. We're going to change that hue back to regular yellow. There we go. That looks good. Let's bring the opacity down, bring it up, and then I'll go ahead and place this light source just right on top of where the lava flow is, like this. And it's going to add a nice extra element of kind of lava flow. I think it always looks kind of nice. There we go. Light sources play a huge role in making something more dynamic, right? So adding light sources is very helpful. So we finished that lava field. I'll go ahead and delete that. You can throw on some other textures as you want, but I think that cracked ground is just fine. Okay, let's take a step back. 53 changes. We'll just go on right on to the next one. And that one is going to be a lacusтрine.